What is up, my respectable spectators? Spectators here. You can call me Mr. Spider-Man fan, Mr. Peter Parker fan, because it's time for me to review the DVD of Spider-Man, the 67 collection, aka the 1967 cartoon show. The one where it plays that classic Spider-Man theme song. So, this show came out in 1967. He was voiced by the late Paul Soles, who died 2 years ago, unfortunately. He was also known for voicing that elf in, I forget, was Santa Claus is Coming to Town or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, I think, yeah. And he also voiced, he voiced Bruce Banner in the Hulk cartoon show from the 1960s, and he also played this pizza owner guy in a brief cameo appearance in the Incredible Hulk movie adaptation from 2008 with Edward Norton and Liv Tyler, Tim Roth, and William Hurt, who unfortunately died last year. It was the first ever Spider-Man cartoon adaptation ever made. It featured villains from the comics and original villains for the show. Almost every single time they adapted a villain or a story arc, it was almost like frame by frame, in some form, almost frame by frame in some form. Like in the original comics. There's only one living cast member from the show still alive today, and that is Carl Bannis, if that's how you pronounce it correctly. He voiced the Scorpion, who was personally one of my personal favorite villains. Sorry, that is my dog barking. My dad's either home or he sees another animal that he's sensitive to. So I'm going to read the back. So here's the front. Here's the back. Feel free to pause and read. Here's the side. Marvel, right? Now, I bought this DVD copy back at Chiller Theater Expo in New Jersey. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a horror convention. I mean, it's not just for the horror genre, but it's a convention for mostly horror fans and other fans too. Based in Parsippany, New Jersey. It's twice a year, unlike other conventions that I hear about. And they sell there's always this one section where they sell old DVDs that are either rare to find or out of print. Including this. Oh yeah. Here is the disc. It's the same as the others. Spidey's upside down. It's the same as the other. It's just Spider-Man, but it says disc 1, disc 2. That's the only difference. I kind of wish each disc had a different character, like Scorpion, Green Goblin, J. Jonah Jameson, Betty Brant, Aunt May, Electro, Lizard, Sandman, Rhino, Mysterio, etc. But whatever. It's a good show. It's totally watchable. I started binge watching, and I personally, I've seen a few episodes before when I was little, but I'm personally enjoying the binge watching trend, honestly. And it says in color, I don't know if this show used to be in black and white or so, or it was just when they just introduced color to TV. They only introduced color to TV in 1950s, I think, if I'm right. I could be wrong. I know The Wizard of Oz was a black and white and a color movie, once Dorothy opens the door, after her house lands in Ozland. They show that shot, once the door opens, you see the colors. And, I kind of wish this show included Venom, but they didn't introduce Venom in the comics at the time, so it kind of makes sense. But hey, whatever. What would have been awesome if they made an episode of Spider-Man in the black suit in this cartoon show? Imagine that. So, the first episode is The Terrible Triumph of Dr. Octopus. Another classic Spidey villain. Peter Parker goes on this assignment to investigate something going on in the mountains, and then he gets kidnapped. He decides to investigate as Spider-Man, and then he gets kidnapped as Dr. Octopus, and then Betty Brant comes over to investigate, and then she gets kidnapped too, but then Spider-Man manages to break them out and defeat Doc Ock. That's my dad. Sorry. Yeah, it's a good show. Like, it lasted for 3 seasons. Then after they ended the show, I thought we were never going to see this continuity, this version of Spider-Man ever again until Into the Spider-Verse and most recently Across the Spider-Verse featured the return of him along with other Spider-Man like Spectacular Spider-Man, Spider-Man Unlimited, Spider-Man PS4 continuities, like those individual Peter Parker's time variants as well. And they had included the classic music and etc. It was so awesome. And they made sure to make it child appropriate. They did a good job on making it sound child appropriate. Like there was no way they could have done a live action version of Spider-Man with all these villains in the show. I mean, they did make a live action Spider-Man TV show too, actually. Back in the 1970s. One was Japanese Spider-Man, which isn't even about Peter Parker. It's about a motorcycle racer who becomes Spider-Man due to an alien ship crashing. I prefer more of that version over the following one I'm going to mention. And the one now I'm going to mention, the other one that came out was made was in 1978 with Nicholas Hammond, or 1977, sorry. And that, I've only seen like one episode of that. I've never seen an episode of Japanese Spider-Man, but I got those 2 Spider-Man TV shows on DVD as well at the Chiller Theater Convention. I personally wish they included villains in that show, the Nicholas Hammond version, but they didn't have much effects. But there are certain villains I feel like they could have had, like maybe Green Goblin in some form, or Kraven the Hunter, or Chameleon. Those could have been, they could have had them. Like, they didn't require effects. But whatever. But Japanese Spider-Man included a villain called Professor Monster, who resembled Doctor Doom, but he isn't Doctor Doom. I don't know. I mean, you gotta watch the show to understand. But like, Stan Lee preferred more of that show over the Nicholas Hammond version because it was more sci-fi-ish, which, you know, I kind of, I agree with Stan Lee. I prefer, like, I think the Nicholas Hammond show is good, but you know, it's just like, it's different. So yeah, like, yeah, again, it lasted for 3 seasons. My mom told me she would watch, she and my uncle, her brother, would watch this when they were little, and it was jazzy. Like, imagine if you encounter people from the 70s or 60s generation today as adults, like, ask them about the show, and they'll be like, oh, I bet you $1 billion in the world, they'll be like, oh my gosh, we love that show. It was like the GOAT in a way. Alongside the 1960s Batman TV show and the 1970s Wonder Woman TV show and the 1970s Incredible Hulk TV show, which I'll be discussing about in a future video, by the way. But yeah, like, it's totally watchable. It's totally good. It's like old cartoons where they did frame by frame by hands, like drawings, etc., like in the Disney movies, but it's good. And yeah, like, now comment, yeah, so yeah, it's a good show. If you want kids to laugh, you want to have a laugh with your family, when it comes to TV, watch this. Spider-Man 67 collection, etc. Rate, favorite, subscribe, even comment, and I'll see you later. Comment below. Who's your favorite Spider-Man? Like, Nicholas Hammond, Tobey Maguire, etc. Like, which version? Which continuity? Because, you know, Spider-Man's awesome, right? Rate, favorite, subscribe, comment. Talk to people later. Peace, and have a good one. And Excelsior, true believers.